Welcome back. We've got a second news of the day type video, including some news that's just really blown up on Twitter. And you know what's weird? We didn't hear anything about it until today. And I think that's, I don't know, it's kind of odd in this day and age where there's a 24/7 news cycle that this hits today. And so we'll get to that. First off, Trevor Daley has announced that he is retiring. I have a Penguins logo there, even though he didn't play for the Penguins this year, because after 1,058 games played, 309 points, he is taking a job with the Pittsburgh Penguins as a hockey operations advisor. So, congratulations to him on a great career. And there will be a career video on Daley, much like I need to do one on Hansel as well. And in Daley's case, nice long career, underrated defenseman, and nice to see him getting a job with the Pittsburgh Penguins. That being said, that's not what everybody's talking about right now. So, Mitchell Miller, the 111th draft pick for the Arizona Coyotes. I want to also make this clear. Bill Armstrong comes in as general manager from St. Louis, had no say in the draft. So, because he had information from the St. Louis side of things, St. Louis didn't want him having any influence on the draft. And it's one of those things where last month Arizona came out, Javier Gutierrez, who is their CEO, inclusivity being talked about, and this whole inclusive idea, and Alex Mariuello being the first ever Latino owner of an NHL team, and all of this. But Mitchell Miller, 4 years ago at age 14, and this is where the story really meanders. This is not hazing. I just want to make this clear. This is not hockey hazing. I had a board I was kind of halfway done yesterday where I was going to talk about hazing in hockey, and I thought, no. So people are wondering, why did Shannon not make his normal amount of videos yesterday? Because I started, and then I thought, no, I just did a power rankings. I don't need to get into the hazing thing. Because there was a video that came out of these kids hazing one of their teammates, and it's just one of those things where he holds his breath, passes out, something along those lines, and then he was convulsing. Looked like he had a seizure, and then he gets back up. And the kids were all laughing, and because kids are stupid, they film everything. Kids, don't film everything. This is the only advice I can get, and yet, I don't want to make it sound like I'm making light of this crap either. But kids film everything, including the stuff they're doing that they shouldn't be. So, parents are concerned, and there's rightfully some concern in the coaching community, because these hazing things can get out of control. These hazing things can escalate into what is essentially assault. Now, what Miller's being accused of is not assault. This was an African-American schoolmate of his who is developmentally challenged, who is 4 years behind his classmates developmentally. Now, as I have a child in my home currently who is developmentally challenged as well, this really hits home, and it's one of the reasons why Yvonne is homeschooled the whole way along. Because I know that being different will cause somebody to get picked on. Now, when Miller was drafted, the kid that he picked on was very upset to see that he got drafted. Now, there's a reason for this. Now, at the time, there were charges filed, there was police reports and all this. There were two kids involved in the incident. I'm not going to get into exactly what happened. I will link in the description to the Arizona Republic's article on it that gets into all the nitty-gritty on this. This is not just simple. This is flat-out bullying. This is assault. And apparently his cohort, Mitchell's cohort, broke down and cried and apologized and felt terrible, and he never has. Now, before being drafted, Miller sent out 31 letters to all 31 teams apologizing for this, knowing this was going to come up, knowing this could affect his standing in the draft. Word has it there were several teams that would have taken him in a heartbeat, and because of this incident, said, no, pass. We hear a lot about how character matters in today's NHL. And there's people who kind of make jokes about Benning and how he brings in nice guys and not winners and this kind of thing. But it does matter. And there are those who will say, well, he was young, he didn't know better. I don't know. This stuff he was doing, I wasn't doing that in middle school. And it is interesting because I looked up his reports pre-draft and where he was in the draft. Central Scouting had him at 49th. Craig Button had him at number 106 in his draft. He ends up going 111th to Arizona. He wasn't going to end up falling out of the draft. But for Arizona, this is I don't want to make it sound like it's a black eye because it's a 4th-round pick. But considering they had forfeited draft picks already because of the scandal with the Combine and with getting information on picks they weren't supposed to have, you would think that in the 4th round they would pick somebody that didn't have red flags. You would think that they would pick somebody that through their nefarious means of, and whether you agree was nefarious or you think what they did was no big deal, through all of the advanced scouting they done they weren't supposed to do, you would think that they would have grabbed somebody in the 4th round that was a diamond in the rough, maybe somebody who wasn't on draft lists, but no. Now, he did send out the apology letter to all 31 teams, but word has it, he never apologized to the victim, ever. So now I expect that he will. He's come out and he's also given out this public declaration that he's going to be better and he's going to end racism and bullying, because, of course, it's a visible minority he's bullying, too. It's... Anyways, so this is one of those things that we report on, and it's like, wow, he called him what? He said what to him? Holy crap. And then he's just a kid. I wasn't saying anything like that at 14. I grew up in the 80s. And, you know, there were kids who would have rightfully smacked me if I had said any of these things. And so, you know, I don't know how this goes. He's a 4th-round pick. He's at the University of North Dakota. They haven't started playing hockey yet that I can see. I don't see anything on Elite Prospects in regards to him playing for University of North Dakota. But now for them, they have a freshman who all of this has come out about. But it's weird because it's public record. This was already a known thing, and yet now that it's been reported by a bigger newspaper, now it's blown up. So this was something that he knew could blow up, so he sends the letter to 31 teams, and now it has. And Bill Armstrong's already released a statement. As I said, I'll link in the description below to everything that's going on. That all the support in the world. Well, now he has to say that, right, as the GM. He can't, as a GM, throw the kid under the bus. You can't just say, well, I guess we're just going to forfeit that pick because you didn't have draft picks in the first 3 rounds. Again, that's a situation that Armstrong had nothing to do with. Oh, John Chayka got out at the right time. Okay, so I set all this on fire, and now I'm going to leave. Got it? Cool. So this is a story that I don't think is going to necessarily go away. And I'm not sure because, again, it doesn't read well. It really doesn't. And now that it's become this big thing on social media and the kids had to speak up and Arizona's had to speak up, now for a 4th-round draft pick who has what, maybe a 10% chance of ever seeing a game in the NHL, now he suits up. If it's against Vegas, he might have Ryan Reeves going, hey, so you're going to drop the gloves about 3 seconds into this game here. And again, you know, we can have that discussion about, you know, whether or not when they're young and the whole statute of limitations idea. But it's going to be interesting to see how Arizona gets through this. Because, again, if he comes out now, I feel really bad. But 4 years ago, reports were that you didn't. 4 years ago, you said, yeah, I had nothing to do with that, even though people knew that you did. So, and it's... Oh, boy. Anyways, so I expect a lot of people to have a lot of opinions on this. So it should be interesting. Yeah. I wanted to get some other articles on this board. I wanted to get something that feels pretty good. So, because that, you need a palate cleanser after that ugliness, and that likely will have other updates down the road. So, Carolina Hurricanes, to your Twitter, I thank you. I thank you first off because the Carolina Hurricanes follow me on Twitter. That's great. I also thank Carolina because when it came out that there's water on the moon, which the police was saying, they were saying about it 4 decades ago. So Sting was kind of psychic there. But the idea of there being ice on the moon and all of this led to the Carolina Hurricanes saying 2 words, space hockey. And Trip Tracy has already agreed with that and said that's a great idea and let's have games on the moon. And we need that right now. We need that kind of levity Well, there's some of the other stuff going on that's going on right now, and news cycles are as they are, and all that other wonderful stuff. So thank you to Canes Twitter for a little bit of levity on a day where we need it, while everything else seems to be kind of, dramatic. Also, other news from around the hockey world, the OHL, which has not started playing yet, apparently they are likely pushing back their start date into January is the plan. So the plan is to have the season well into January, but they're going to have a GM's meeting on Wednesday to decide how that's going to work. So again, for anybody who's saying, oh, Shannon's being really vague, it's ugly. What happened with Mitchell Miller, I will, again, have it in the description to this video, and there's conversations to be had. But I don't put this in the same category as hazing in hockey. This is not that. It's not. It's a hockey player that was being a dick. And, and we can all have that debate some other time. But, let me know your thoughts, by all means, in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.